follow that globe and you will find us in deepest, darkest Devon. For tonight, it's the Southwest Derby. Exeter take on Bath in round 16 of BUCS Super Rugby 2018, brought to you by Yoti. Kickoff is coming to you live at 7:45. Well, welcome everybody to a wet and gloomy sandy park, but tonight we're hoping that Exeter and Bath will light the stadium up with another classic BUCS spectacle. I'm really fortunate to be joined by EURFC alumni and now beating a path in professional rugby with the Exeter Chiefs, Sam Skinner. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you very much for having me.
Mate, great to have you. Now, did you think 12 months ago when the Southwest Derby was on last year, that 12 months on you'd be scoring a try against Leinster for the Exeter Chiefs in the European Cup?
I don't know if I had it in my mind back then, but I certainly had prospects to be playing with the Chiefs this season, and obviously I'm very fortunate to how it's gone so far.
And BUCS played a big part in your progression into pro rugby, because we were talking before that you said you were a little bit overlooked, but you had the opportunity to shine at university level. Yeah,
massively. There's an awesome pathway here for young prospects. You know, the guys who have matured slightly later have an opportunity to come study a degree, and particularly with the links Exeter Chiefs have with the university, it's a great opportunity for guys to come here and genuinely push for a professional contract.
And you're not just playing professionally for the Chiefs, you've also got a hand in the coaching here for the university. How are you finding that now you're in charge of the boys?
Yeah, I just couldn't let go really. I wanted to stay a part of it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Uni rugby's good because you coach a little bit, yeah, but it's more about them learning and developing themselves, so you kind of give them the ropes really and let them get on with it.
Okay, well, you've got a coaching role at the moment to mastermind the assault on the league. We can see the table here and the men you're chasing in Northumbria who are pipping you by 1 point at the moment. Realistically, you need 5 pointers from here on in.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. Obviously, Northumbria are a great side. They've been playing some really attractive rugby this year, and they've developed well over the last kind of couple of years, really well. But for us, I guess it's taking each game as they come and trying to get that top two, because obviously you want that home semi-final come knockout stages.
Well, last week we brought the game at Loughborough to where Cardiff met Triumph, but there was a big game on Friday when you were looking for your arch enemies Hartpury to do you a favour up in the northeast. But Northumbria mounted an epic comeback to run out 29-19 winners. What do you make of this Northumbria side?
Well, they've got threats all over the pitch really. As you can see here, it's like a pretty good driving wall they've got going, and then they've also got some electric backs. Obviously they play a lot of their games at Kingston Park, which suits their game massively, and they play an attractive style of rugby. So yeah, obviously it's pleasing to have competitive sides across the board in BUCS Super Rugby, because it only makes for more competitive games.
And it really shows that any team can beat any team. Hartpury, obviously a form side at the moment, they pipped you a couple of games ago, running Northumbria really, really close, who were pretty much bottom of the league last year, weren't they?
Yeah, I think you can't really look at that league table and think any game's going to be a walkover. Hartpury are a great side in their own right, and I think they'll be pretty happy going into the end of the season with where they're at.
Yeah, definitely. So as we said, big comeback there. Yari Fentini, the judo expert, coming in with his second try of the match, and then it was up to the rampaging second row Ed Bloodworth to go through that gap in the middle and finish off from the 22. Lovely play there from the boys from the northeast. But on to tonight's game, and we're talking about teams who aren't to be underestimated. Bath have endured a torrid time in the Southwest Derby in years gone by. They've shipped 40 points on the last 3 occasions, but they're on a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, they're a quality side. They've got some class individuals, and they've got a really good coaching setup. The scoreline hasn't favoured them over the last few years, but the games have been very competitive, and I don't think this Exeter side are under any illusions going into today's game.
So a big tussle certainly on our hands. That's what Sam thinks, but we also caught up with the coaches before the game, and this is what Aaron James and Keith Fleming had to say on matters. Sandy Park. You guys are clicking into a bit of form. Great win last week. You ran Northumbria close. It's all coming good.
Yeah, well, look, we're back into form. We've got a bit of target for how we wanted to play the last 4 games, and yeah, performance are much better. You know, 33 and 50 points in the last 2 games, so we're a bit happier. But yeah, there's a big one down at Exeter.
What do you think is the missing ingredient that you've added this year?
Giving away bloody penalties. Giving away penalties. We love doing that, and we put ourselves in a bit of a world of pain because of it. But we're confident, like every team is in this competition, of beating each other. And yeah, if we can keep our discipline and do what we've trained, we know we can do it right.
You've been playing a little bit more expansively recently, but with the inclement conditions, can we expect you to play things a bit tighter with your forwards?
Oh yeah, we'll see really. The end of the day, we practice in the morning, so it's always wet. So this is no different. We've got no wind down at Sandy Park, so we're going to stick. It's a chance for us to stick to our game plan.
Good stuff. Wish you all the best, Aaron. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Keith, thanks for joining us for this massive event for Exeter and Bath. 5,000 people here tonight. It's a testament to EURFC.
Oh yeah, no it is. I mean, this is the one event that both teams really want to play in. To play at a Premiership ground in this atmosphere is just going to be the tops of them.
And you're chasing Northumbria hard. Realistically, you need 5 points from every game. What's the mindset of the boys?
Well, we just take one game at a time, and we're looking at performance. We can't think of 5 points every time. We don't get ahead of ourselves. We just got to get on the pitch and do what we do and get the best performance we can.
Cool. And with the slightly greasy conditions, will we see a change in tack from you at all?
No, I mean, this is a great track. Sandy Park is a fantastic track, whether it's wet or dry. Obviously, the weather's going to make a little bit of a difference. We've got to be more accurate, make sure the passes stick.
Excellent. We're really looking forward to seeing you tonight. Cheers, Keith. Interesting stuff from the coaches there. Aaron James desperate to mitigate that penalty count, which has been punishing them, and certainly Exeter will punish them with the unbelievable goal kicking of Ted Landry, who they've got in their locker. So just one last remark, Sam, before we cut to a commercial. It's a massive occasion here. Like, the boys are singing, cheerleaders are out. How special is it for the team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, for both sides, it's a great occasion. For a lot of these guys, this will be the biggest game they played in, and I need to make sure they enjoy it. A lot of guys get a bit pumped up, a bit nervous, but it's important they have a great time whilst they're out here tonight.
Well, we got 5,000 packed into the stadium, plenty more of you at home viewing. We're going to be back with the live action after this break. Join us then. Welcome back, everybody. It is reaching fever pitch down here at Sandy Park now. Now, Sam, it's been great to have you. Really appreciate your company. I think I know the answer to this, but who's going to win tonight?
I think we've got to go an Exeter win.
You heard it here first. Exeter Uni for the win in the Southwest Derby. It leaves me to throw things up to John O'Bell in the commentary booth to talk you through the teams. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a sold-out main stand here at Sandy Park for the Southwest Derby tonight. Love may well be in the air far and wide this evening, but you will not find much of it here. Exeter hoping to return to the top of the table and put behind them a tricky recent spell of 2 wins and 2 defeats in their last 4. They make 4 changes, all in the forwards department, the most eye-catching of which is the colossal Fraser Bruce making his first start replacing Harry Strong in a team packed with talent. James McRae, with 6 Man of the Match awards to his name this campaign so far, starts at number 8, and centre Tom Landry, lethal with the boot, looks set to break his century mark for the season tonight. Bath are searching for revenge after their 47-7 hammering in the reverse fixture back in early November. Their 2 changes see prop Austin Hay and talisman Will Flynn return, while the keen Exeter eye will be on fullback Will Partington, who has scored a superb solo try against Nottingham Trent last week. He is a man in form too. 49 points in the last 3 games. A big performance required from him and his teammates tonight as the visitors search for their first Southwest Derby win since 2013. Substitutions there on the screen for both sides now as the starting 15s begin to enter to the field here at Sandy Park. A wonderful playing surface for both of these sides. Under the floodlights in the southwest, we are wonderfully poised for the start of this one. A huge game for Exeter, who are big favourites coming into this one. However, they know what is at stake. We are coming to the nitty-gritty stage of the BUCS Super Rugby season. Not many games remaining now for the home team. They must make tonight count. Bath, on the other hand, they've got 1 win out of their last 4 games, that coming last week against Nottingham Trent. They won that game pretty handsomely in the end. It was tight going into the interval, but ran out 50-25 ultimately. So we are good and ready to go here. And the camera side of the field absolutely rammed with Exeter supporters here. The BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti off and underway. And early on the ball collected by Levi Davis. As Bath will look to try and quieten down this home crowd. It's going to be a very difficult job indeed. Will Britton, the captain, taking possession of the ball there, who's not scored since the opening day of the BUCS Super Rugby season. A defeat against Leeds by 1 point, 27 points to 26. Will Flynn then with the ball away, and a chance for Exeter for the first time to run forward with it, and that's Salom Bogue. Going to ground, a very positive player is the Exeter fullback, who has been a bit of a part of the Exeter team in the Aviva Premiership A-League, of course that being the Exeter reserve team. Ball dropped there by Fraser Bruce, 134 kilograms, making his first start tonight. Bit of a fumble from him there. And of course we heard from both coaches beforehand. Big thing they were saying was, due to the conditions tonight, the rain here in the southwest, that it's about accuracy. It's making sure that your handling is strong and that you don't make too many mistakes, because both sides will certainly be keen to pounce on those errors as we come towards the concluding embers of the first minute of this one, and we have our first scrum of the game. And we do apologise for some of the ambient sound you may be hearing wherever you're watching tonight. It's a very rowdy crowd, and that goes for the in-venue announcer as well. But it just goes to show what sort of scintillating atmosphere that we have got on our hands tonight. Bath certainly not finding Sandy Park a very happy hunting ground in recent times. Their last visit here was actually the first time they got into double figures in their last 5 attempts. But this is the sort of scenario that needs to occur for the visitors in blue. Just slowing things down with this scrub now, and Petrosi putting it in and just about rescued there for Davis to try and make inroads on this near side. Immediately flattened from Max Himbury and Luke Pierre Rio in there too. But Bath just trying to make some movements and coming down the centre. Austin Hay, one of the 2 changes I mentioned prior to the game, coming in tonight and getting the decision as well. As there is a bit of a hush in the crowd now as well, which shows that Bath have done their job coming down the M5 tonight, the very short journey, but making a pretty decent start with the ball in hand. And they'll have a line out here as well, midway inside the Exeter half. Tom Doughty will take. Tom Doughty, the all-time highest try scorer in BUCS Super Rugby. Of course, it's still in its relative infancy. This is the 2nd season of the competition, and he has 16 tries in all, and 7 of those coming this season. That sees him at the 3rd joint top, and also almost wriggling through. Petrosi there. Exeter doing well to get a grip on that occasion, and then the tackle coming on Miles Reid there as well. But still, Bath with possession of it. Petrosi recycling it wisely for Britton, the captain. Quickly moved on. Flynn moving it towards Russell. Man down for Exeter at the moment as well, just holding his face. But still, Bath keeping up the momentum they are slowly beginning to achieve right now. Flynn tries to spin it towards the far side. It's an interception initially being made there by Ted Landry, who did very well to get on the end of it. And the decision, I think, will go Exeter's way anyway. But that was quite encouraging for Bath. And you may be able to hear the crowd tonight. As I mentioned, they are on the camera side of the field, so you won't see too much of them, but you can see they're all here, most of them on their feet, and eager for an Exeter win. In jovial spirits right now, but trust me, they won't be come 9 o'clock tonight if they fail to get at least 4 points from this match. So coming towards the 5-minute mark here. This is the BUCS Super Rugby live on Free Sport TV, brought to you in partnership with Yoti. Scoreless so far, pretty much eventless thus far as well, but most of the action taking place in the stands. However, in the very early stages, you have to say it's Bath the ones doing their job at this moment in time. Of course, this is not the only BUCS Super Rugby game going off tonight. Northumbria will be taking to the field against Nottingham on Saturday, and that is certainly going to be an interesting one, because Nottingham, without a win to their name so far this campaign, the whipping boys of the league, their first season, of course, in the BUCS Super Rugby, and they've found out just how hard it is. Some very strong teams in this division, and Bath, who may be 4 places lower and in the bottom half of the table than Exeter, are making the positive start so far. Partington then looking to dance his way in towards the 22. He was down once but managed to get back up again. Will we see any of the sort of magic that we got from him against Nottingham Trent last week? That'll certainly get the home crowd quiet as Flynn moves it along nicely, and then it's Da Costa popping it off to Russell. Still Bath coming forward with it, and Flynn at the heart of it once more, and that was a forward pass from him, and you have to say, not the first time he's done that in this game, Will Flynn. 20-year-old in his final year at Bath University. A couple of moments ago, trying to, of course, get it over Ted Landry on that occasion and failed to do so, and on this occasion it was the forward pass. And, this is the replay of it. Of course, difficult to tell from that angle, of course, whether it was forward, but it was quite evident on the naked eye in the stadium that was the case. Scrum immediately collapsing there due to the fault of Bath. Miles Reid, those on the left side of that Bath scrum there, just collapsing to the ground. First chance we've had to see of the right boot of Ted Landry tonight, who has the highest points out of any player ever to take part in BUCS Super Rugby, 244 and counting. He's on 98 this season coming into tonight, and surely he will be a Centurion for the second straight season by the end of the evening. As Exeter make their first inroads forward, and Bogey on the outside to Himbury, well in towards the 22, and very well tackled as well from Doughty. But this is more like it from Exeter, the first time the crowd really brought into life by the action on the field. Houching back, now it's Bruce. Didn't really make too much yardage up there, but still Exeter firmly applying their foot to the gas as Young will recycle the ball, and they get ready for the dart towards the try line. Now McRae trying to get things forward. Bath slowly being moved back towards their own try line, but resolute so far as Exeter purring towards the post right now. Linsell, the ball was loose and it's recovered, but Exeter got the decision anyway. Will Brutton, the Bath captain, in the thick of it on the ground. And will Ted Landry go for the post, or is he going to go for the corner here? And he looks as if he's going to try and get Exeter's account off and running for the night. Lethal from the kick, and this will be very simple for him indeed. And this will be an opportunity for him to get over 100 points this season. He's on 98, and this to put Exeter 3 ahead. Maybe very wet the surface tonight, and the conditions not too bad, 10 degrees, but not much wind around Sandy Park. So Ted Landry can hit this straight down the throat to the posts, get Exeter off the mark, and get over 100 points for the season. And there was never any doubt at all. The flags are up, and Ted Landry ticks over 100 into treble figures on 101, but more importantly tonight, inside the first 10 minutes, Exeter leading by 3 points to 0. Well, that bit of pressure all coming from Exeter, managing to make the break down the right-hand side thanks to Salem Bogey. Great turn of pace from the fullback. Max Himbury on his outside on the right wing was making the break towards the try line. That pressure was maintained. The foul was committed by Bath, and a simple task for Ted Landry, and we are 3-0 up for the home team. Doughty just in conversation with Austin Hay there about what the destination of this line-out will be. Successfully taken as well from Bath. It looks as if Exeter conceding the penalty. Can the visitors make the most of it? That's now Doughty looking to wriggle his way towards the near side. Does well to hold possession. Exeter, as you'd expect, right up there in the thick of the title hunt. A very tough nut to crack, to say the least. But Bath early on giving it a right good go. Petrozzi, the Italian. And Flynn going for the kick rather than the pass this time around. And who's it going to drop for? It looks as if it's been successfully claimed that by Will Hughes, but it'll be brought back for the initial penalty for Bath anyway. As we get past the 10-minute mark, Exeter leading against Bath by 3 points to 0. You're watching Free Sport TV, BUCS Super Rugby action in partnership with Yoti. As Exeter in second, up against Bath in 6th. It's the Southwest Derby, and undoubtedly the biggest crowd of the season for Exeter tonight. And they'll be relatively pleased with what they've seen. Of course, a very long way to go. And Bath chancing their arm now with this line out. They've got to get it right, and they haven't. And it's easily picked up by Felix Madison. And a wasted opportunity there from the visitors, which is frustrating, of course. Let's talk about the accuracy required coming into this and how it was a greasy surface. The ball won't be easy to handle. Mistakes have to be few and far between. Davis looking to just relieve the pressure on the Bath backs. And then a bit of a ferocious kick there coming from Craig Duncan. No love lost at all as it thumped Dom Thorne on the far side, who's only just getting back to his feet now. That hit him crisp on the face. And if ever a bit of needle was needed to be applied to this game, then I think that might have been it. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us tonight as well. The hashtag BUCS Super Rugby. Lots of you getting involved and watching at home on TV. Of course, last week, as Loughborough took on Cardiff Met, the first ever BUCS game to be broadcast on national television. And it didn't disappoint either. Exeter starting to really show what they're made of here. Mike Haynes was trying to make the burst through the gap. But Exeter haven't had much of the ball so far, but whenever they've had it, they've looked very strong indeed. That time it was Madison going forward. Still they come. And then the knock-on made, but there had already been an infringement made there from the retreating Craig Duncan. But of course, the Southwest Derby, you can tell by the atmosphere just how vociferous this game can be, and there you go. Welcome to it, Dom Thorne. And he's still looking relatively dazed, but I'm sure vengeance will be in order as far as he is concerned. He's not scored a try, Dom Thorne, since the third game of the season. He scored 3 in his first 3 of the BUCS Super Rugby campaign. He's going through a bit of a dry spell ever since. That's Miles Reid, the flanker on your screen now. He scored his first try of the season last week against Nottingham Trent. Just receiving some treatment. Game just momentarily paused for that. We can bring you a half-time score in the East Midlands at Loughborough. It's Loughborough leading by 12 points to 5 against Durham. A good start for Loughborough, who have lost 4 at home this campaign after going undefeated on home territory over the course of last season. Just shows how much of an unpredictable entity BUCS Super Rugby can be. But this one going to plan for the favourites, Southar, as they go for the ball towards the try line. They've certainly got the strength. Have they managed to get there? And it looks like the decision has gone the way of Exeter, and it's a penalty try. And that is exactly what the doctor ordered as far as the hosts are concerned. 15 minutes in, 10 points up. And the home crowd could not have asked for much more. Well, here we see it. It's unusual for a penalty try to be given on the first phase of play. The maul a couple of metres away from actually getting towards the try line, but the referee very confident that the infringement was serious enough to warrant the penalty try. Now, sin bin as well has been issued to David Costa, the prop, who has started 6 of the last 7. It's his second sin bin of the season, and he'll be gone for the next 10 minutes. And Joe has made the hop from pitch side to join me in the commentary box, and great start for the host, Joe.
Sorry to leave you hanging there, Jono, for the first 15. I was trying to track down Tom Lauday, who's our guest at halftime, another Exeter success story who featured in last year's final. But Exeter, with the vociferous crowd behind them, have really got the bit between their teeth now.
The wind absolutely in the Exeter sails, and Bath trying to quiet the crowd down early on. Of course, they got the early scrum, which killed a few seconds and brought down the decibel level a few notches. However, now it's very hard to stop this crowd from really getting on the Bath backs.
Yeah, definitely. I've just been up in the stands and it is raucous. Songs being sung, more and more people piling in and getting behind the green machine. And with a 10-point lead, Bath need to find a way to silence them ASAP. That Exeter trial really filled them full of confidence. Bath have got such a powerful pack. So to be able to get a penalty try through forward power, that's going to be a great confidence booster for the men in hoops.
Well, Flynn away, and Bath just resorting to trying to clear the ball as quickly as possible out of their territory. It's a difficult task, this, for Bath now, because only once in their last 5 matches here at Sandy Park have they managed to get into double figures. And if they're to have any chance of winning this game and turning it around, then they've got to manage to do it for a second time. And this is not an easy place to do it.
Yeah, I don't think you'd back against them though, Jono. I spoke in the pre-match show about how they've really found some resolve in 2018. They ran Northumbria very, very close up in the northeast. Such a difficult place to go, and obviously they're flying high at the top of the league. A resounding win against Trent last week. You really feel that they've clicked over the last few weeks and they've got confidence coming into it.
Play just being halted for a few moments. The referee trying to communicate towards the near side, and first change being made from Bath there. Coming on to the field is Gus Antons, as the visitors look to try and see out this period with 7 minutes remaining of the sin bin. Doughty once again putting the ball into the mix, and nicely collected this time around from Russell. Of course, the last line out didn't go to plan on the near side as the burst is made from Petrosi. Great inroads being made from him, and now Reed trying to wrestle his way towards the line. Bath trying to make the most as Exeter reset, and they've done so successfully, it seems, for now. Now Flynn keeping things ticking over as it comes towards the near side, and Partington, he's dangerous from this position. Surely he's going to go over, and somehow he is forced back the other side of the line. I'm not quite sure how Will Partington was denied there, but heroic stuff at the back for Exeter. But still they have work to do. Austin Hay is trying to make his presence felt, should I say, in the mixture, and he has the ball now as well, being aided by 2 in blue. Still Exeter holding firm, and now trying to battle his way forward is Catlin, and has he managed it? No, as Bath work their way centrally, but Exeter doing a very stern job here, being pushed and tested to the limit, and eventually they have faltered, and the try put home from Austin Hay, and Bath with a super response.
Yeah, what a response from Bath there, going to type into the big men, and their key player standing up there. The initial break from the Italy 20 scrum half, Luca Petrosi. Interestingly, one of 3 Lucas in the Bath squad. Unusual you'd find that. And right on his shoulder was Miles Reed. He's just coming off the back of 2 Anglo-Welsh Cup appearances for Bath. He played against the Falcons and started against Ospreys in 2 winning victories. And then they kept it tight. And despite desperate defence from Exeter, Austin Hay found his way across. That tackle on Will Partington was remarkable in the left corner. He's been in red-hot form over the last 3 games or so. He's picked up 49 points in 3 games through the boot and through a scintillating try against Nottingham Trent last week. If you catch it on the replay, he's like a crowbar wriggling out of tackles left, right and centre, and an acrobatic finish in the corner.
Well, make that 51 points in 3 and a bit games now then for Will Partington. No problems with the conversion at all here. We are a quarter of the way through. BUCS Super Rugby action in partnership with Yoti. It's the Southwest Derby, Exeter 10, Bath 7. And don't forget, Bath are still a man down right now, but Austin Hay, super from him, right under the post. And it was a bit of a mismatch, the 117 kilograms of Austin Hay up against the Exeter scrum half, Edward Houchin. who took a bit of a plummet to the head as well for his troubles.
Yeah, you saw by his reaction there as well. Bath are really amped up for this fixture. I said they've been on the receiving end of some absolute hammerings here in the past, and speaking to Aaron James before the game, he's determined for the record not to be repeated. Although they started 10 points down, they're right back in the mix with a 3-point deficit to overcome now.
Yeah, we may have just seen on your shot there, quite a large portion of the crowd have now taken their seats. They were stood for the vast majority of the game, and the rain probably hasn't aided their spirits. It's got a bit quiet now here at Sandy Park, and that will certainly suit Bath. But they've got quite a bit of defending to do now, as Exeter well into the 22 in that maul, looking very dangerous indeed. They still have possession on the second phase of it, and McRae, he's faltered quickly in his traps. That's Callum Young then, the number 2. He's quickly taken down as well, as Exeter just waiting for their moment. They're probing pretty heavily, just as Bath did at the other end a few moments ago. Will the hosts be as successful and to make that hard work from Bath in response to going 10 points behind? All a waste of time. And it's Ryu who's more or less being dragged towards the try line, and eventually Jack Roos, has he managed to get through? No, according to the referee. And there was an extra man in the middle of it there with a fist in the air celebrating, but the referee clearly stating no try. Very, very close though. Heroic from Bath, but it did seem like Jack Roos had got over there.
Well, it looks maybe the ref called that there was a bit of obstruction there. We'll take a closer look here. Ryu first with the inroad. He's notable for his defence, but looking to get on the score sheet there. And then a judge, maybe a blocking line from Felix Madison. I'm not sure how much he knew about it, but it certainly seemed to hinder Jacko Davies in the number 6 jersey. Jacko Davies with 7 tries this campaign, doing his dirty work in the defensive line.
Away from Will Flynn then, as Austin Hay receives a bit of treatment. So this is another angle of that incident. Does the ball go to ground? The referee's got incredible vision if he's managed to see through that crowd of bodies, but I don't think there's enough there to be able to say that's confidently hit the ground at all.
Well, I think there wasn't a problem with the grounding. I think that he'd made his mind up already that there had been an obstructive blocking line from the Exeter 7 and called it decisively.
So Bath survived that storm. Possession with Will Britton, the captain then. And back for Flint to boot things away. Of course, not the greatest conditions out there, but the coaches did mention beforehand there's a lot of rain, it is a wet surface, and of course handling has to be strong, but not much wind, and therefore kicking won't be as prominent as you'd probably expect in adverse conditions. As Exeter fluently move it from one side towards the other, and look at the pace of Haynes, gets it on the overlap as well to Thorne, back for Haynes, and that was sublime. Exeter with their second try of the game, and that is how you work the ball towards the try line. Unbelievable.
What a try. We spoke just a second ago about how greasy the pill is out there, but Exeter showed none of that. Just slipping it through the hands and freeing up Haynes in the wide channel in the 13 jersey. Great composure, 2 hands on the ball. What's he going to do? He draws Partington. And great strength and awareness to flip it inside to Haynes. He hadn't given up on it. And that supporting line has earned him a try, and a crucial try as well in this first half. Well,
Mike Haynes scored at Bath in November, and he gets his 5th try of the campaign as well, and what a moment to get it. And just in this interlude, while Ted Landry weighs up another kick, don't forget to get in the conversation with us using the hashtag BUCSSuperRugby. We'd love to hear your views on the game. We've already heard from Tom Doughty's mother, Millie, this evening, cheering on the Bath faithful. So get your shout outs and your questions in for us. We're going to have Tom Lauday at half time. Ex-EU RFC, currently at Cornish Pirates on dual registration with the Chiefs. A man who knows BUCS in and out.
So don't be shy, everybody.
Yeah, some great interaction as ever on Twitter. I've seen a couple of people saying that they've got the rugby on the telly and the resort of the Champions League to the tablet, and that's the way we want to hear it.
Well, that's better than having the rugby on and Eurovision like it was last week, which was the options, I think.
Well, what a start to the Southwest Derby then. Exeter 17, BUCS 7 now. BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. So that 10-point advantage restored by the hosts. And once again, the question's been probed to Bath as to how they can respond. They did very well the first time around. Difficult bounce for Exeter to take there, but once again, as soon as they get it, the crowd getting excited and they motor forward at serious pace as well with Roos. Ouch into Young, and Morley trying to find a bit of a gap there. He's quite handy with the boot as well. Whenever he's had to fill in for Ted Landry, he's done so successfully this season, particularly against Durham earlier on in the campaign in that 31-21 win for Exeter. And I'm sure Northumbria eyes will certainly be fixed on this game as well. Their game at Nottingham coming up at the weekend. They'll be expected to win that, but this doesn't half put pressure on them.
Absolutely, Northumbria eyes going to be on this game. They're now in the position where the league really is theirs to lose. It's in their hands, they know. If they get 2 bonus point wins, then the title is theirs. But they know that this Exeter outfit are going to be breathing down their neck. But as we keep on saying, there's no easy wins in this league. And while Nottingham Trent, sure, they've lost all their games so far, but they put in some decent performances. They did well against Bath last week before they rather crumbled a little bit in the second half due to a few errors. But they've got some experienced heads in that team, all playing for Nottingham Rugby in the Championship. So Northumbria won't be taking them lightly by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I think Luke Pierroux there for Exeter was expecting the contact to come in the tackle, tried to hurdle it and fell over inadvertently instead. But it need not matter, as Cookville is the man that time to have possession. He's foiled, and Bogate saw in the first couple of minutes his turn of pace, and that actually led to the first try of the game for Exeter. Of course, that penalty try. Still the hosts have the possession, and you can see there are a couple of little handling errors in there, but so far Exeter haven't been punished on this phase of play. McRae with the ball now, man of the match in that game against Bath in November. He also scored a try as well in that game. 7 tries in all. It was more or less a case of who didn't score a try for Exeter that time around. Bath trying to show that they are made of sterner stuff on this occasion, but play halted for an injury there, and that's Felix Madison.
Yeah, Felix Madison taking it, not doing the dirty work that he does so well. Loose ball coming from a big hit in midfield. I've got to say, it looked like the Bath defensive line had crept a bit offside in their haste to quell that Exeter attack, but Madison dropping on it like a grenade. He gets up and he'll be back for more. He's made of stern stuff, that kid.
Well, a cracking shot of the crowd there in the main stand here at Sandy Park tonight, and they were more or less having to turn people away at the doors as there were no tickets on the door for the game. They'd already sold out, and they're certainly just as loud as they are visible.
Yeah, the EURFC faithful there in fine voice. I'm not sure any of those seats have encountered a backside so far this game. They've been on their feet cheering all night, and that's the kind of stuff that will spur their team on to what they hope is going to be a bonus victory.
Well, there's 10 minutes remaining of the first half. I don't know about you, Joe, but it's absolutely flown by. Change being made by Exeter as well. Aaron Bagwell coming on, and one thing about Exeter is they have so much strength in depth. They've had 20 different try scorers this season, and if they do have to take somebody off, no need to worry at all, because those coming off on the bench are more than capable.
Yeah, Aaron Bagwell's not a bad replacement to bring on. He featured as a starter in the BUCS final last year. He's included in the England student squad, so I don't think they're taking a backward step by bringing Bagwell on.
And Scott Russell, the Bath lock, just on his knees, just behind the referee, and he's the man currently getting treatment. Certainly blood and thunder early on in this game, but it's Exeter leading by 17 points to 7, and of course all kicked off by the early Exeter penalty, and that was followed by the penalty try. And we haven't had your thoughts yet on this, Joe. Was it quite an early call to make for the penalty try from the referee in the first phase?
Well, I think the referee's shown throughout this game so far that he's going to be decisive and make the big calls. He disallowed the Exeter try which followed this passage, but you can see clearly that Exeter got the march on there, and the only way Bath were going to bring that down was by submarining it, what seemed to be illegally. He had a better view than I had, but it doesn't seem out of court that a penalty try be awarded, and he's stamping his authority on the game early.
You had a better view than you had, Joe, because you were messing around in the stands for the first few minutes of the game.
It's soaking up the BUCS banter.
So, Exeter scrumman into the final 10 minutes of the first half, and it's been a pulsating first period as well, and the ball immediately picked up from Exeter, and James McRae, who certainly looks like a formidable force whenever he picks up the ball in the number 8 position. Blandford knocking around in the mix there as Morley trying to pirouette from those in blue, but eventually the ball dropped and easily pumped out of play, and it will be picked up this by Levi Davis, who came out of absolutely nowhere, and this is blistering pace from him, and Bogue should have it covered, and he's forced to touch it down as well. But excellent work from Levi Davis, and we're going to have a scrum from that.
Yeah, Keith Fleming will be absolutely furious at that. James McRae giving great front football, great break down the right hand side to give him that momentum, and then coughing it up cheaply in the midfield. And you see, with the speed on the flanks and the awareness of Bath, and also the grease on the pitch to put a long kick in, suddenly Exeter have gone from a promising scoring position to being in siege mode on their line.
It has been very end-to-end stuff, hasn't it? That a lot of play has happened in both of the 22 so far, and that's what's made it so gripping to watch.
Yeah, definitely high octane, and at times a little bit frenetic. Maybe the occasion getting to both sets of players and going for the specky or the risky ball to write their name in folklore. I don't know if the coaches will be asking them to take a breath and be a little bit more pragmatic in the second half.
Well, Exeter at fault there for the infringement in that scrum, which was more or less halted before it had begun. So it nudges slightly more central. I think even if Bath did get a try from this, they should be content with the first half. Of course, behind, it's never nice in a Southwest derby, but they're certainly giving it a good fist of it thus far. Here's Partington. Always reason to believe whenever he has the ball. And the try scorer for Bath, Hay, is immediately swiped towards the ground. The knock-on is there, and Exeter get the decision, and that was a fantastic challenge coming in on Austin Hay. And if you're going to go head-to-head with him, you've got to make sure it counts. And certainly did on that occasion.
Yeah, Austin Hay muttering to himself with self-fury right there. But it was rapid line speed from Exeter, putting pressure on him, putting pressure on those ball skills. They've obviously learnt their lesson from him wrestling his way over 15 minutes ago under the sticks. The big fella choked it up.
So Bath, not for the first time tonight, really threatening towards the Exeter try line, but the hosts surviving and getting the decision from that scrum as well. And the pressure and the pendulum of it immediately swings back towards Bath, and Flint repelling things there. And it's a drop, and Partington's eyes light up, and Partington darts towards the try line, into the corner, and that is an uncharacteristic error from Exeter, which gives Bath a gateway back into this contest.
Huge moment there. A try from absolutely nothing, expertly finished by that man in red hot form we spoke of, Will Partington. It was a good chase by him and Will Flynn, putting pressure on the receiver. The last-ditch effort from Exeter wasn't enough. He was in at the corner, celebrating yet another try. Certainly know what he wished for at Christmas, and that is a massive uptick in form. And it's certainly been delivered in this new year so far.
Yes, a crucial time as well to get that score.
And messages going on as well. That's Aaron James, the Bath head coach, running the tee on. I think that's probably below his pay grade usually. He's obviously got some words of wisdom as well to deliver to his star fullback. He's really been talismanic for the brothers over the past few games.
Yeah, you may have seen Will Partington there unceremoniously disposing of the flag that was put in place just for the 22 there. If the Exeter backline aren't going to get in his way, then he's certainly not going to let a flag get in his way either. Partington being goaded by those behind him. Be numbing his ears right now in preparation for this kick, and he's got it. Unbelievable, and a turn and a look there towards the crowd, and he's saying have some of that. 58 points in 3 and a bit games for Will Partington, and his side are now 3 points within Exeter.
Yeah, don't barrack Will Partington on the touchline, it just spurs him on to greater things. A very partisan home crowd here for tonight's game. Will Partington has the answer, and that's 2 points to close things to 17-14.
Well, Bath with only one away win this season before this game. That was away at Nottingham Trent. Partington going again, and whenever he gets the ball, the way he sort of glides inside so wonderfully well, you try not to get drawn to his footwork because it is mesmerising stuff. But the play is on the far side now, and it's looking positive for Will Hughes, who managed to get the knock on, and there will be a sin bin as well, and it's the second yellow of the game that we have had. Bath earlier having the man deficit for 10 minutes, and now Salem Bogate has gone off as well with his first yellow of the season. So we'll miss the finale of the first half and the start of the second. Well, we were wondering a few moments ago if Bath could squeeze the deficit and be content with that at the break. They may be able to now go in front, which would be a remarkable turnaround in what has been a superb first half of BUCS Super Rugby. And this Southwest derby not disappointed, you can see there. And Bogate knocking the ball on, but the offence coming from the reckless nature of the challenge, which was no real attempt at all to fairly get the man. So now the maul on for Bath, and just look at the battle commencing in that far corner. The head guard's been lost as well, another one goes flying out of the mixer. But the most important thing is where is that ball? Almost a turnover there. It seemed like there was a green hand on it as Flynn switches play towards the near side, and Davis brings it under his spell. Now Partington once again almost climbs towards the line. It's still in play with Petrozzi, but they're being forced really wide here. In fact, it'll be brought back to the earlier offence on the far side before Will Flynn switched hands towards the near end of the field. And Will Flynn with that apologetic hand in the air there. I think there wasn't really enough pace on the ball towards Levi Davis, who seemed to be waiting for an age with everybody else before it dropped into his hands. And Davis couldn't really go alone, but he had Will Partington with him, who certainly a man that you would want next to you on your team when you're attacking the opposition try line, but he couldn't quite make it count. pressure still on though. These are big moments for Exeter. Northumbria will certainly be making themselves vocals right now as they watch their screens and support the boys in blue. And again the referee intervening with the whistle. Of course our clock not necessarily reading what the referee's got on his wrist, but it's not far off. We are definitely into the final phase of play in this first half, and Exeter will be relieved just to get this out of the way successfully if they can manage to do so and get into the break with the 3-point lead. And of course the 3 points coming from the first points of the game scored by Ted Landry, that penalty bringing him to 101 for the season before the later conversion from him. Well collected then from Jack Davies. The ball on the far side. It's going to be difficult for Bath to avoid being dragged out, and Doughty did a wonderful job to keep it alive and have Bath manage to get the try at the end of it as well. No, says the referee. Everybody holding their breath there as the referee blew his whistle before he instructed with the arms very emphatically that it was no try. Not for the first time in this first half that he has had to do that, the referee. It'd be interesting to see that back once again, because Bath may have thought that they got themselves in front there. But what a first half nevertheless. It is Exeter at the end of the 40 minutes that lead the way by 17 points to 14. Managing to kick things off with a penalty from Ted Landry in what was a pretty cagey start, but after that the floodgates certainly opened. Both backlines really showing what they could do in the opposition 22. Exeter with the penalty try accelerated themselves in front before Bath got into it with the Austin Hay try. He did very well to get in under the post. Exeter then reopened their 10-point advantage before Will Partington showed exactly why he is the man in form in BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti right now. He managed to not only get over the line, chancing on what was a very uncharacteristic mistake, it has to be said, by Exeter. It came out of nothing. Partington, under an immense amount of pressure from the vociferous crowd on the near side, put it through the post with the conversion, and it means that the half-time score here at Sandy Park, Exeter 17, Bath 14. This Southwest derby is far from over. Be getting a bit of half-time analysis, a bit of reaction as well from Joe Burns, but that will be coming up after the ad break. Don't go anywhere. The Southwest derby far from over. Welcome back to Sandygate. It's the Southwest Derby here, BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. And it is Exeter 17, Bath 40. Jonathan Bell with you alongside Joe Burns. What a first half, Joe.
Scintillating first half, Jono. Exeter with the crowd behind them raced into that 10-0 lead. A textbook Landry penalty, 3-0ing them up, and then that forward power to win the penalty try. But Bath's ambition has not been quelled. They've been fighting all night, and they've really been profiting from some Exeter errors to leave this game really in the balance going into half-time. I mean, Exeter were well under the cosh there right at the end. It was only a marginal knock on whilst going across the line. He couldn't quite see who it was. Maybe Jacko Davies, who's usually so reliable from that distance, coughing it up there. But hell of a game on our hands.
Absolutely. If you are just joining us, there's a big crowd in tonight, as you can see. That's not just because of the Southwest Derby, it's also because what is at stake for Exeter tonight. They are 1 point off leaders Northumbria, who don't play until Saturday afternoon. So a big incentive for Exeter to go out there, get at least the 4 points over their rivals Bath, in a game which they are favourites in. However, it's not all been going their own way. They started off very well, as you mentioned, Joe Landry comfortably converting the penalty, and then they got the penalty tried at Exeter to make it 10-0, and a very efficient call from the referee, not for the first time this afternoon.
Yeah, it looked to be like a well-constructed drive from Exeter. You can see nice narrow spine driving through the middle. Wheel to the right on the Bath side. We're going to get a good angle here of what the ref alleges happened. Maybe Jacket Davies pulling Silent Cell down there. I mean, it's a big call, it's a difficult call, but one that we entrust the referee to make. And Bath, with their history of coming off second best in this fixture, you might have thought could crumble, but they came back fighting.
Absolutely, and this is Austin Hay very soon is going to go over under the post, and it was quite surprising that Exeter seemed to allow Bath to come into that central position there. They didn't get the men over, and you can see the man just to the right of the post appealing for men to come over and help him out. Pretty simple in the end for Austin Hay, the prop, to beat Edward Houchin, the Exeter scrum half, for strength and determination. Got through the post and made it 10-7. The gap again within 3, and it was a super response, exactly what Bath needed to do.
Yeah, ironically enough, that's a tactic you see Exeter Chiefs use a lot, where they just continue pick and go around the same corner, absorbing defenders, taking the defence increasingly narrow, and then finding their way under the stumps. But this try that Exeter then fashioned really brought the game back to life and put the song in the crowd's lungs once more.
Well, this was fantastic. This is Haynes who eventually scores the try. Not the greatest pass in the world to Dom Thorne, but it was a wonderful return pass nevertheless. And Haynes getting his 5th try of the season, his 2nd coming against Bath this season, and for me, try of the game.
Yeah, without a doubt, Max Haynes is a quality player. He's featured for Exeter United in the A-League quite a few times. In fact, he played against Sarries away at Allianz Park in Exeter victory. They're doing so well in the A-League, and that kind of experience stands these players in such good stead for creating moments of class like that. The support play and the desire to be on the end of that pass, magnificent.
Yeah, Will Partington definitely having a bit of a party at the moment. In the last 3.5 games, he's managed to amass a very fine total indeed. 58 points, and 9 of them coming tonight. Great pace from him. You may have seen on Twitter during the week his fantastic solo try against Nottingham Trent last week, but just another shot of that now. It was the mistake from Ted Landry, who's been ever so reliable with the boot this season, but with the hand there, not so much so. So we are ready to go for the second half. The teams are back out onto the field, and it will be Bath in blue getting us started. Will Flynn with ball in hand.
Yeah, great to see that story of the first half. Unfortunately, we missed a sensational performance from the Exeter University cheerleaders and a guest appearance from the club mascot Snappy the Croc. all to keep festivities very bright here at Sandy Park, but we're into the real meat of the evening, the second 40, where Exeter not only have to seal this win, but they need to pick up 2 tries to get that crucial bonus point. But Bath, they've got to be in their bonnet. They want a victory in this Southwest Derby.
Well, I don't know about snappy, but there were certainly some choppy weather conditions in that first period, with not much wind knocking around, but quite a bit of drizzle. But the pitch in wonderful condition, which you would expect of a Premiership ground, but nevertheless fantastic for these players at university level to play out on.
Yeah, this competition is beginning to yield these massive fixtures more and more. We saw the big game where Bath played Loughborough in front of 5,000 people. We've got the Southwest Derby here for Exeter. Loughborough, their opening game against Harbury, had 3,000 at Loughborough Stadium. So these big stage events are becoming more and more regular, and long may it continue, in my opinion, because the rugby really deserves it, and the young men definitely flourish in the environment.
Well, don't forget, you can see at the bottom left of your screen the yellow graphic there with Salem Bow currently in the sin bin for another 5 minutes. He went off at the back end of that first half in what was really beginning to amount for some serious pressure for Bath. They just couldn't make it count as Davis lumps the ball down that far side, easily taken this time around by Huchin, who quickly repels. But a bit of kicking at the start of the second half there, but a lot of great running rugby in that first half, and a lot of play in both sides' 22s.
Yeah, there's definitely ambition from both sides, and they're willing to put it through the hands and not just stick it at their jumper, which is great to see. But it's certainly a battle of the aerial ping pong underway now, and who's going to blink first?
And I think the sort of play that we're witnessing now is probably due to the mistake that we saw from Ted Landry during that first half. Conditions can be difficult for players to bring the ball under their spell, but at the moment both sides are faultless, and certainly putting our cameramen at work as well as they drift from left to right.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a kicking exchange go on quite this long in my life. And Will Partington finally says, look, enough's enough. Let's call the mark, line our ducks back up, and come back with a new strategy.
Absolutely so. Early stages then of the second half. You are watching BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti, live on Free Sport TV. Jonathan Bell with you alongside Joe Burns. And a great first half, a very different second half so far.
God, painful start to this second 40, in fact. Neither side wanting to give an inch. They've obviously both had the same team talk in the sheds.
Well, there absolutely won't be any need for catching practice next week in training for either of these sides. Bit of a deeper kick that time around from Will Flynn, whose kick, of course, caught out Ted Landry during that first half and led to the Will Partington try. So still the backs trading kicks. Davis has ball forward there, him of the grubber type, and he tries to close it down but fails to do so successfully. Partington daring to break towards halfway, and he carries on himself as well. He was just waiting for the gap, and he got a little bit of one there as well. And then, well, the backs have done wonderfully well to catch the ball, but when it came to the forwards there, unfortunately Scott Russell couldn't come up trumps.
After all that kick tennis with Bath seemingly winning it, it was a great kick to put Sam Morley under pressure with the brothers flooding through, Levi Davis leading the charge. Will Partington then put the step on, exposing maybe some lazy minds out there. Got them into a good position, and he leaves it to one of his forwards to knock it on frustratingly.
Well, here is Scott Russell, who dropped the ball, and you can see absolutely infuriated with himself.
I'm not sure if you got the chance at half-time. Not that I don't listen to your every word, Jono, but a little update on another big derby happening in Loughborough is that with 70 minutes gone, the African Violets are just about pipping Durham 19-12. going into the closing stages there. That'll have ramifications on the mid-table, which affects Bath, and consequently the seedings going into the knockout rounds. The knockout rounds, of course, leading to the crown jewels for the big day at Twickenham Stadium.
Yeah, what a way that'll be to close out the BUCS Super Rugby season in partnership with Yoti. It's not disappointed so far, and this game hasn't either, although the second half you may think a bit differently about. Certainly not the fluid rugby we were treated to in the first half.
Yeah, and a few tweet updates as well. We've had some noise from an Exeter University legend, Jason Luff, who plied his trade for the Chiefs for a number of years, was, I think, Fans Player of the Season 2 years consecutively. He's at home watching, chirping away on the action, and you guys could be too. Use the hashtag BUCS Super Rugby. Let's know what you think. It is a game of rugby, not a game of kick tennis.
A bit more kicking there from Ted Landry to pump it into touch. And the game may have gone a bit flat. The crowd haven't, however. They've kept up the noise levels at a very decent level throughout the first 45 minutes. And into the final 2 minutes of the Exeter sin bin, of course, as well. Sal and Bogey off. Second sin bin offence of the game, one from Exeter and one from Bath, and Exeter have certainly seen out the 5 remaining minutes of that sin bin at the start of the second half, aided by that kick tennis, I think. Landry moves it swiftly onwards, and here they come with a great bit of passing rugby now, and Bogey is now back on the field, in fact, as Thorne, inside left channel, began to purr towards the try line, but stopped midway inside the 22, and a fierce challenge from Austin Hay. Have a bit of that. Not for the first time, Austin Hay making his presence known, and that time it was Callum Young feeling the full force of it. He's not happy as well, Callum Young, a few words afterwards as well.
Yeah, really rattling his cage with a big hit there. Austin Hay with a bit of making up to do after his drop at the line on the 5 metre in the first half. Great play from Exeter there. A lot of decoy runners with men out the back. Got it out to Bogey, who put the double pump in, which delayed the ball a little bit getting to Thorne, who maybe if he got it a little earlier would have had a bit more space to challenge that scrambling Bath defence.
Well, Exeter always looking threatening whenever they are in this position, and the ball a bit of a hot potato in the air there, but eventually brought under control. But the knock-on will be a Bath ball instead, and you can see the relief from the Bath players as well from that. High fives and pats on the back all round. Exeter have made quite a few mistakes tonight that perhaps you wouldn't expect from them.
Yes, definitely. They've been mistakes that have been punished by Bath on the score sheet, but from their own personal point of view, they've surrendered some very promising opportunities with a couple of uncharacteristic handling errors. Something they're going to need to stamp out if they're going to make it 5 points. Well, to secure the win primarily, but then go in search of the bonus point.
An opportunity almost there for Exeter towards the try line. They still go, and they're looking strong. McRae really trying to force the issue. It's not quite succeeded. The second phase again thwarted by Bath, and now Exeter moving centrally. The crowd on the edge of their seats and anticipating this ball to go over. But Bath aided at the moment by the post. Not for much longer. The ball is over ever so slightly. It goes onto the line, and that was enough for the referee to clearly see and indicate 5 further points for Exeter, who stretched their lead to 8 in all. It's 22-14.
Big try from Exeter there. They gave Bath a taste of their own medicine, keeping it tight, working around that corner. Men on the back, piggybacking away closer to the post, challenging that Bath defence. And with one last carry and a bit of support, they managed to squirm over, using that greasy plane to the good this time. And that'll relieve a bit of pressure for the Green Machine.
Yep, Simon Linsell then with the try. That's his 6th of the season, and he's in a decent bit of form himself, the Exeter man, who's been the Exeter man of the match in their last 2 matches against Hartpury and Leeds. And he's scored 5 very important points here tonight as well. Agonisingly, as far as Bath are concerned, the ball planted just over the line there. Quite clearly a try. No need for the referee this time to be in any doubt at all. And Bath, a shadow of the side that they were in the first 40 minutes. Partington once again going for the big kick forward. And I'm not quite sure, Joe, at the moment what Bath are trying to do.
Yeah, they've had a complete U-turn in terms of tactic, and are investing a lot of capital into their kicking game, and it was reaping benefits earlier in the half before that knock-on in the midfield by Scott Russell. So they did have some success, so they're going to stick at it, but they definitely need some time in the Exeter half to give their attackers a bit of opportunity to press the opposition defence, because since that initial kicking battle, it's been all Exeter, and they've had plenty of opportunities and finally converted that one under the sticks.
Well, I said that the first half flew by. The first 10 in this second, quite bluntly, have dragged, it has to be said. But as far as Exeter are concerned, it's about getting them points here in the BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. The title race really hotting up. Now, Bath, for the first time in the second half, making a dart forward. We saw a couple of glimmers earlier from Partington, but apart from that, they've offered little with ball in hand. It's Britton, the captain, making his first dart down the centre. It's recycled nicely as well towards the far side. And a really good run being made on the left by Cutting, who's chopped down. And Russell looks to keep things ticking over. Not quite the case. But Bath starting to show what they offered us in the first half of this game, and why it looked as if a shock may be potentially on the cards. Chances of that happening have certainly evaporated since, but maybe they could throw a cat amongst the pigeons here. Reid was the last man to try and go forward. This time it's Britton. And Exeter fighting and scrapping for their lives and for top spot as well, of course, tonight. A win for them and they go top, whether it's 4 points or 5 points, but of course they would love the bonus point, and they're only one try away from that. Buckingham making some decent yardage there as well, and this is an opportunity, and once again it's miraculously from Exeter being denied. Miles Reid was the man who on that occasion seemed for all the world to be going over, but his ankles were taken and the penalty is given instead. But once again, really strong Exeter defensive play.
Very strong Exeter defensive play. Penalised there, I think, for not releasing the tackler. The referee indicated it was a dart the other direction, and what a hit coming in from Jack Strong. Strong by name, strong by nature, certainly in the contact area. But we see again, even though Bath have conceded early in this half, they're straight back up the other end, and they've got the confidence. They know that they feel that they can peg back this deficit and challenge the Exeter lead once again. They haven't been in the lead yet, but there's a quiet swagger about Bath.
Well, there's a man down, one for either side. Not quite sure who's getting the treatment, but it certainly looks as if it's the Exeter player who is worse off, just laid out there on his back.
Not sure who that is. I think it's Jack Davies for Bath. He's returned to his pack. But then worrying scenes for Exeter here. Looks like it might be something to do with the head or neck. We hope it's nothing too grave. It's obviously got some good medical attention there. And Salma Bogie as well, being attentive.
Well, Will Flynn of Bath at the moment is in the middle of a circle of blue, who he was giving out instructions there, trying to rally the troops, who 10 points behind. Easier said than done, of course, but if they get a try, then once again the pressure back on Exeter.
And in the meantime, I can confirm that Loughborough managed to hold on to that lead, sealing a 19-12 victory against their fierce northern rivals, Durham University. That happening at Loughborough this evening. Loughborough will be pleased to get a victory, but for Durham it's another narrow loss in a season full of them. They've really played some great rugby throughout the campaign, but haven't got across the line on a number of occasions, and that'll be another bitter pill to swallow for the Palatinates.
Well, Luc Pierre Rio is up now for Exeter, and one of many in green and white hoops, poised on the try line, ready to defend what will be a line out in a few moments' time, as Flint dumps it out into touch on the near side. So cutting the substitute is the man plonking it into the mix, and well taken by Jack Davies as the maul well and truly on, and the squeeze from Bath is really testing Exeter right now. And where is the ball broken? It's broken over the try line, that's all that matters, and Charlie Dunbar has managed to put it over for his third try of the season, and once again Bath have managed to drag the deficit back towards within a try.
Well, Bath will be delighted to get that score. His forwards will be furious that a centre stolen in at the back of that driving maul, which they battled their way to the try line for. Charlie Dunbar, what was he doing in there? Just pirouetting off the back and across the line. Exeter heads up, looking in bemusement as to where the ball had gone. It was in his mitts, and getting the brothers right back into this game.
Well, one cliche that is used an awful lot in BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti is anyone can beat anyone, and you know, it's almost as though coaches loosely use that, and to be fair ourselves, Joe, but it really is the case. This is a game between two sides, 4 places difference in the table. Exeter absolutely battered Bath in the reverse fixture, but here on the field tonight it's completely not really going the way you want it to as far as Exeter are concerned, or maybe how do we'd expect.
Yeah, definitely, Jono. I think Bath's league position probably belies some of their performances. They did have a little bit of an indifferent period around Christmas time and at the start of the year, but they've strung together a couple of good performances. As we know, they ran Northumbria very close in the northeast, and they looked great. Their defence was hungry, and they showed some real invention behind the scrum. And Exeter said themselves they're not to be underestimated, and they've really got a game on their hands, and you struggle to pick a winner at the moment, Jono.
Well, if you haven't already, folks, get comfortable and strap your seatbelt, because these last 25 minutes are going to be very raucous indeed here in the Southwest Derby. 3 points the gap. 3 tries apiece. And Bath surely are beginning to be optimistic about the possibilities in this game now. They've got a dreadful record here at Sandy Park, but tonight they've really put up a firm fist of it.
Exeter have been here before 2 weeks ago against Hartbury when they surrendered a couple of leads. And they came out on the losing side that time after the last gasp Elias Caven kick. They'll be hoping they've learnt their lesson and they'll find a way to close this game out, but Bath, they're up for this.
And I remember last week as well, when we were at Loughborough, we were hearing the reports of Exeter's win against Leeds, and even that didn't sound like the most comfortable performance. Of course, you wouldn't expect that anyway, especially Leeds, who have been dark horses this season themselves. But Exeter had to grind out the result last week, and that's exactly what is required of them tonight as well. Simon Lancel not happy with the decision there from the referee. Penalty to Bath.
Yeah, looks like maybe a player going off his feet in the breakdown there. Bit of over exuberance to make up this difficult time they're having in the match. And the home crowd, it's died into a little bit of an uneasy murmur now, wouldn't you say, Jono?
Absolutely. Exeter's biggest crowd of the season here at Sandy Park tonight. They've been treated to wonderful nights with the rugby, but I don't think they'll be appreciating that at the moment. It's all about getting this win over their bitter Southwest rivals. So Bath still applying the pressure. They haven't had 2 successive tries from a team so far in this game. It's very much has been a case of both teams trading tries. But Bath looking to buck that trend now, and they've really got the bit between their teeth, haven't they? In this maul there, they're gaining a few yards that you think are making Bath start to believe and Exeter to begin to worry a wee bit. Petrosi, Flynn with the audacious kick forward, and he's going to get on the end of it as well, and the referee looks around. He has no reason not to give it, and Will Flynn, with a wonderful bit of individual brilliance, has got Bath in front for the first time tonight, and Sandy Park is stunned.
Yeah, wonderful bit of vision there from Will Flynn, but it all came from his men up front, building an impenetrable maul once again, grinding out yards into the Exeter 22. And with the Exeter defence rushing, Will Flynn saw that massive dead ball area they have here at Sandy Park. And it could have been either him, Craig Duncan, or Will Hughes to dot it down. But Will Flynn said, wait a second, I've created this one's mine.
Elation for Bath. Exeter with a lot of head scratching going off at the moment. Will Partington with a simple task to belt this between the sticks. Past the hour marks then. This BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with the OT Southwest Derby. Exeter 24, Bath 28. Bath with one away win this season, away at Nottingham Trent back in November. Every visiting side has won at Lady Bay this season, but Bath made it tough in November. They won by just the 1 point. This has got to be by far their best performance away from home this season. Exeter with a lot of work to do, and this is the perfect opportunity, really, isn't it, Joe, for them to really show their title-winning credentials?
Yeah, definitely. This is where seasons are won and lost under times of extreme pressure. They won't have expected to have it all their way all season, or indeed in this game. And that's time to find that rear guard action at another level and come back from a difficult 4-point deficit with Bath with their tails up.
Well, Exeter have introduced to their forward line now the man on your screen, George Gosling. And it's all right, isn't it, if you can bring on a man who's scored 7 tries this season. Started the last 6 games, and, well, a bit of pressure on him to make an impact now.
Yeah, plenty of firepower from George Gosling. He's an absolute try machine. He belies his position on the field, having picked up 7 tries this season, which puts him tied 3rd in the standings across the league. He's a man who likes an armchair ride at the back of a driving maul, but he's pretty handy in the loose as well, so a bit of impetus from the bench, that's what's needed for Exeter at the moment.
Houchin going to ground as Exeter try and get into the Bath half. And that's Jack Roos there with the ball. The crowd finding their voice again. They're really going to have to back their team, because this could be the biggest 15 minutes, should I say, their season. Nice little threaded grubber from Ted Landry, and it almost released play on the far side there for Max Himbury. And Exeter benefit from the decision nonetheless.
Yeah, a little bit of bad luck there for Bath. The charge down ricocheting back into his own player, who was in an offside position, giving Landry the opportunity to pin it in the corner. Let's have a take a look at it here. Ricochets off. Will Flynn into his retreating man. Not an awful lot he could have done about it, but they need to forget about that and focus on their defensive attitude now, because Exeter have got a point to prove.
Yeah, Will Flynn going for a bit of a Bobby Moore lunge there, it seems, after some majestic footwork, of course, for the 4th Bath try, which has got the visitors in front in the Southwest Derby at Sandy Park on BUCS Super Rugby Wednesday in partnership with Yoti. Well, it wasn't the cleanest ball into play there from Exeter, but they may make it work nevertheless. And Linsell trying to force his way forward. Possession picked up by Bath, but the decision going Exeter's way again, and they keep on the pressure.
They keep the pressure on, but again, another little error from Exeter. They just can't seem to eradicate them from their game at the moment. But a prior infringement from Bath lets them off the hook. They get another bite at the cherry.
Well, Exeter have 2 games to come after this one. Bath with just the 1 remaining. But of course, Northumbria will have a game in hand against Nottingham Trent at the weekend. which is a game you'd expect them to win. Of course, don't write off Nottingham Trent at all. But this could be a pivotal night in the title race in the BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with the OT. We said just before the Bath try that Exeter have ground out results when they've had to. They did against Leeds last week in a game that was not pretty, but they did enough. McRae darting towards the line, well halted. But now Gosling on the second phase, looking to gobble up his 8th try of the season. Denied just underneath the post, as Exeter really cranking through the notches now. And Bath with all hands on deck. Ever so slightly, every phase, Exeter are encroaching further forwards. And surely they're going to get it eventually, and now they have, and Exeter have regained the lead with an absolutely huge try, and Simon Linsell has got his 2nd of the game.
How good is Simon Linsell? Man of the match the last 2 games, 2 tries against Hartbury, 2 tries tonight when it really counts. He steps up, takes the ball, takes responsibility, and gets a massive try that raises the roof here at Sandy Park. Game on.
Well, you just wondered there in those several phases of play just how long Bath could hold on for and thwart Exeter. And not for the first time in this second half, Simon Linsell is the man to come up with the answer. And the answer is that he is just too strong. It's his 3rd brace of the season. Whenever he scores, he seems to score in 2s. And talking of 2s, Ted Landry with a chance to notch a couple more onto the Exeter tally and get them 3 points ahead once again. Big hush before he went for it there, Landry, but once again clinical with the right boot. Advantage Exeter, 31-28. Well, Bath have scored more tonight. I think they have in the previous 5 visits here to Sandy Park, but at the minute it's not yielding much apart from a bonus point defeat, but a lot can change in the next 12 minutes if Bath are to deny their bitter Southwest rivals of remaining in the title race. They've got to come up with something quick.
What a game, John A. Do BUCS do bad games, mate?
I've not seen one yet, that's for sure. Here on Free Sport TV, what else would you want to be watching tonight? The action is all here in the Southwest. So much pressure on Bath to get themselves back in front. And a fantastic take as Exeter begin to apply the acceleration once again. As Robic was making the run forward, he's been halted in his progress, but he's made up an awful lot of yardage. The momentum still continues. A wonderful solo run from Peters. Bagwell moving it on towards his right. And Exeter now well in towards the Bath 22. Flicking it there like a switch. The move from halfway deep in towards Bath territory, and Linsell on for the hat-trick is again trying to maraud his way forwards, aided by 2 in green and white hoops. And they're in that all too familiar position again. Exeter. Can they once again force it over? and surely the game will be out of doubt there. Blandford with the man with the ball in hand on that phase, and then a little kick on inadvertently there from Exeter will not be rescued, and it will be a Bath ball, and we've seen a lot of ball to foot in this second half. That could be one of the most crucial ones.
Big moment there, huge moment. Exeter tails between their legs on the rampage. This was a sensational take. Morley leaping highest, and then it's the new man. He's worked his way up from the second team this season to get his big shot of varsity, carried well, held onto it when he should have done, and then they were really on the charge. That man Josh Peters, he got a hat-trick against Durham. He's just as good as Gosling in open play. It looked for all money that Exeter, that they were going to be closing this game out, or certainly putting it almost beyond Bath's reach. Led, of course, by the totem that is Silin Sal. We've seen them from this range all game, and they've been lethal, absolutely lethal. But once again, a little inaccuracy. If they come out the wrong side of this match, they'll look back on these little knock-ons, these little fumbles, and really think what could have been. But credit to the Bath defence, scrambling hard and then reorganising around the fringes to shut them out.
Even though we've just watched that 10-15 seconds ago, Joe, I'm still gripped in that replay. It's absolutely fascinating, this contest. Into the final 10 minutes. What a big moment that could be here. The BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. And finally, the cogs have turned in this second half, and it has really began to get the pace going once again, just like we had in the first half. Good luck with man of the match in a few minutes, Joe. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, it's an unenviable task.
Scrum didn't really go to plan there from Bath, but very well rescued by Jack Davies. Scrum disintegrating very quickly indeed, and looks as if the ball's been turned over as Exeter pile on the pressure. The ball is their prey. They're sniffing blood on the home side, and they've recycled it successfully. The turnover there's with Roos. And that man Linsell again. Colossal force for Exeter is Linsell. But it won't be his turn to get the try on this occasion. Who else in green and white can step up to the mantle? Peters again with his hands on the ball.
Massive defence from Bath again, driving Exeter back. These guys just don't give up.
McRae was looking strong. Peters again plants it down. Roos again, and now Linsell, and this is where he really begins to chance his arm. He's denied on this phase of play, but again an ominous scenario as far as Bath are concerned. Linsell's there for support again, doing all he can, every sinew of his body pressing forwards with the ball. Possession now with Blandford, and an exceptional force with Bath there. Now maybe those greasy surface coming into the fore with that challenge. Now McRae. And there it goes from Josh Peters. And you just felt the stadium begin to hold their breath and then release in a relief of joy, ecstasy, and possibly Derby Day bragging rights for Exeter. And it is Josh Peters that is the man that plants it home. Unsavoury scenes after it, but certainly the important part of that is the fact that Exeter are surely out of sight now.
Well, A gripping bit of play there, bubbling over at the end. You can see how much this means to both sets of players. Peters, I mentioned before, he loves the sniff of the try line. There could be a little bit of hint of holding round the fringe here. I think that's what the Bath players were kicking off about. We're going to take a closer look in a second as they continue to work round the corner. As a bit more space opens up. I don't know, it looks a little bit marginal. Maybe I'm overcalling that. But the crucial thing is that Exeter stretch that lead into something that's going to be difficult for Bath to overcome. But Exeter, they've yielded leads before. I think the conversation from Silent Cell to his troops now is do not let it slip.
Well, wait a minute, Ted Landry doing something that we haven't seen in a very long time. Misses the post when it seems like he would be certain to convert. But here in the BUCS Super Rugby, in partnership with Yoti, Exeter on course right now for the bonus point win. Ball then with Dunbar, who of course scored a try for Bath in the second half. What a topsy-turvy second half it has been. Almost a gap through there for Will Hughes. Still Bath penetrating and doing all they can to get another try in this one, but it won't be coming on that attack. And Joe, I said to you a few moments ago, it's going to be very difficult for you to pick him out of the match, but the man on your screen has really impressed you, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's been some great performances from both teams. I mean, Will Partington for Bath has been sensational. Obviously, he got the try, he's kicked all his goals, he's been a menace from the back all game. But no one typifies this Exeter backbone like that man, Silent Cell, their captain, their talisman, their Yoti player of the match. He has been supreme all night. Last time he was awarded this, it was in the game where Hartbury pipped them at the last, so I do hope it's not the kiss of death for Si. But he can be very proud of his night's work.
Well, Bath have a lot of work to do now because, of course, 8 points the gap between the two sides. And if anything, Exeter pressing for another one. They got 7 tries at Bath earlier on in the campaign. 5 for them today. Bath putting in a phenomenal shift, particularly when you compare it with some of their recent performances here at Sandy Park, where they struggled to get over double figures. Far from the situation tonight as Exeter go for touch, and that is the end of the game on the referee's watch. The Bath players sink to their feet, but Exeter have managed in a gripping, gruelling affair in the southwest come out on top by 36 points to 28. Bath were leading with 10 minutes to go for the first time in the game, and it looked as if that would be the decisive blow, not just in the game but for Exeter's title chances. But in the true spirit of possible champions, Exeter managed to turn it around with the vital try being secured. With just minutes remaining. What a finale, what a game. A wonderful first half, which in the end was reflected in the second as well. A very strange kick tennis affair at the start of the second period. Really slowed down the pace of the match. But a super game for the neutral. And in the end, after all the finger biting and the raucous singing, Exeter can enjoy this one as well. Full time then in BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. Exeter are back on the top of the tree. The focus is now on Northumbria at the weekend. Exeter 36, Bath 28. Reaction to come after the break. Well, welcome back to Sandy Park after a much needed breather there. What a game we have had tonight in the Southwest Derby here in BUCS Super Rugby in partnership with Yoti. Exeter going top after a 36-28 victory against Bath, who scored tonight more points than they have done cumulatively in their last 3 visits here at Sandy Park, but they will go away from it pointless. Their huddle, though, on their right-hand side will certainly involve a lot of positive words. Relief, though, for Exeter, who are certainly given a bit of a run for their money in the second half. We had a wonderful first half to begin with, but going into the second period is Exeter, who drew first blood in it. The first 7.5 minutes purely consisted of a bit of kick tennis between both sets of backs, and Simon Linsell eventually managed to just get the ball, have the bit between his teeth and make the break just over the line. Agonising for Bath as Simon Linsell got his 6th try of the season. Looked as if Bath would have enough to thwart Exeter, but as the situation got more and more ominous beneath the posts, the Bath defence crippled under the pressure of big Simon Linsell. Bath at the other end responded perfectly just over 5 minutes later, and the try from an unusual source in centre Charlie Dunbar, who spun his way over the try line and got Exeter back to within 3 points. You can see from them all the determination of Bath there, and Exeter uncharacteristically just not having enough firepower to deny the Bath strength. Charlie Dunbar then touching home, and that was before an industrious bit of play from Will Flynn, who notched his first try of the season. And it certainly warranted the knee slide celebration from Jack Davies as well. Will Flynn plonking it over the top of the Exeter line, and he made sure that he was the first man in blue to finish off a wonderful solo bit of play. But then it was that man Linsell again trying to grab the limelight and succeeding as well. His 3rd brace of the campaign. He's been man of the match for Exeter in the last 2 games. And he's our Yoti man of the match tonight as well. Thanks purely to the determination showed there. The relief there for all to see and for all to hear as well here in Sandy Park, as the Exeter crowd were beginning to get a little bit quiet. But that one gave Exeter the buffer that they so desperately required, and to get back in front. Exeter making sure they put the icing on their cake. It was certainly a struggle to make their cake over the course of the night, but it came up palatable in the end, and it was substitute Josh Peters crowning the victory with a dart over the line. Uncharacteristically, Ted Landry did miss the conversion, but he did tonight get over the 100 points mark for the season, and he's now over 250 points over the course of the past 2 years as well. Bath downbeat, Exeter on top of the table. Delight for them. And you can see just how tired Bath were beginning to get at this point. Final look at Josh Peters getting the victory in the Southwest Derby. Exeter ultimately out on top, and it's now down to Northumbria to try and overtake them. They face Nottingham on Saturday. All about tonight, however, and we can now go to Joan Birds on pitchside.
So an absorbing BUCS fixture comes to a close with Exeter trumping Bath in a nail-biting game, with the scoreline maybe not quite reflecting Bath's play in that game. Aaron, it's a really tough one to take.
Yeah, we've got a changing room full of frustrated boys. It was in their control, and yeah, when we look back at our videos on Friday, yeah, there were so many chances we gave them and missed ourselves, and that's been frustrating. I thought our intent and the way we play, the way we were tackled was very good, but we can't miss those opportunities. When we can give under 10 penalties a game, we're gonna come out with a result we'll enjoy.
Yeah, at 24-28, you were in the ascendancy and you had the momentum, but it was wrestled away from you. That must be very frustrating.
Oh, Exeter, we know will do that, and they can keep the ball very well, and they did, and put us under pressure. And you've got to keep quite disciplined to hold them out. And fair play to them, they come back, and yeah, they deserve to win. But yeah, frustrating. I'm pleased for the guys. This is probably the better result we've had down here, but we still haven't won, and we're capable of winning. And we'll keep our spirits up, because some of the way we played is where we're going to go, and we'll just fix our things that are in our control, and we'll get there.
Yeah, you are a completely different side to what you were earlier in the season. It bodes well for when the knockouts come around.
Yeah, we had 9 first years in the team, and there's a lot of learning and getting together in such a league that's brilliant, and it's taken another step this year. So there's been a lot of learning for those guys, and yeah, the competition right around the show is even higher. But if you ask any team in this league, we all think we can beat each other. We still do that tomorrow.
Yeah, so these boys are becoming men, and they're not only going to be handy in the knockouts, but come next season they're going to be vets of BUCS.
Oh yeah, we're still in this season, but yeah, we need to work on our controllables. But hey, tonight was Exeter's night, and well done to them. I thought they played well. They're a strong, consistent side and deserve to be at the top of the table.
Well, Aaron, commiserations. You boys put in a hell of a shift out there tonight. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Joey.
Looking forward to seeing you soon enough. All right, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cool. So I'm just going to invite Keith Fleming and Silent Cell. We'll talk to Keith first, if we can, so that you can get off into the sheds and talk to your troops. Tight win, Keith.
Yeah, it was a very tight win. You've got to give Bath a lot of credit into the way they forced us into playing. We had a lot of uncharacteristic errors and a little bit of not playing to the script sometimes, but you can Bath put a lot of pressure on us.
Yeah, so there were quite a few errors out there, a few handling errors, especially when the line was begging. Is that pleasing or dissatisfying in the sense that you can grind those out and become a better team coming into the closing stages?
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll look at the tapes again. We've got to be more accurate than we were, but we know that we are a good side when we put our mind to holding on to the ball and playing our phases. So, but stuff to work on. There always is.
Yeah, it's clearly a whole squad effort, a whole club effort. There was a couple of new guys in there who'd worked their way up from the second team, but also your bench brought a lot of firepower and impetus, which maybe got you across the line.
Yeah, we look for the energy off the bench. As I said, they're not there. They're not shirt fillers. They're here to make a difference. So when you come on the park, you have to make a difference, and today they did.
And Cardiff met next week. It's another big challenge away from home.
Yeah, all of the games in this league now are massive games. There is no easy fixture in any of them. Anybody can beat anybody on the day, so it's about a real case about being on your mettle the whole time. So, but we look forward to it. We'll dust ourselves off. The boys will go out and enjoy this evening. So if we get the enjoyment out of them by Thursday night, we'll go on again.
I've got no doubt that the boys will be enjoying themselves. Well, thanks very much, Keith. Great win tonight. If you'd be kind enough to hand the mic on to your captain, Si. Now, Si, last time we met on camera, it was a little bit of an uncomfortable situation after the Hartbury loss. You got man of the match then, but in a losing cause. You got it today, but in a very satisfying, albeit tough, winning cause.
Yeah, relatively satisfying. Keith's touched on it there. We're not that happy with our performance today, taking nothing away from Bath. They came out a completely different side to who we played before Christmas, and credit to them, they were hard, came at us hard, but a lot of things to fix there. Shipping that many points, not quite happy, but we'll take the 5 points. Yeah,
so what's the most displeasing thing? Is it the defence, or is it your errors close to the line out there today?
Errors close to the line, on a greasy night like this, you can be forgiven for trying things. I think it's, just lack of concentration, leaving our system and our structures and sort of switching off at the key moments and giving away silly penalties and slipping off tackles, and those are the things we're not too pleased about, I'd say.
Do you think you learnt lessons from that narrow loss against Hartbury? I know it was heartbreaking for you guys, but it was another situation where there were times where it felt like you'd won the match, then they fought back and they got ahead late in the day.
Well, it's happened a few times, so I'll say Hartbury wouldn't be the first time we've learned those lessons, and we need to stop learning them or learn them all for, once and for good. But
Yeah, but I'd say we probably have learnt something. Reversal of the circumstances last week, last-minute win against Leeds rather than last-minute loss. So, that's credit to this league as well. I think Aaron touched on it earlier. Everyone thinks they can beat everyone, and that's credit to the strength of the league. But we need to kick on from here.
And you must be really pleased with the resolve and also the impetus that came from your bench tonight. I mentioned it to Keith. You've been a really settled side all season, but there's some new faces coming in, and they're challenging for the jerseys.
Yeah, we've got great strength and depth, throughout the club. I think the club's made a best part of 200 or 300 boys, so there's plenty of boys who want the shirt. And today was just an example of the strength and depth we've got. And credit to that bench. They came on and really gave us that firepower and that energy to bring home the win at the end.
And your personal performance, as 3 games, 3 man of the matches, the boys must be piling into you for the amount of champagne that you're winning.
Yeah, I won't be drinking most of that. I think I'll be sharing that. But I'm happy to get a few tries. But as I say, whole team effort. I finished them off from 2 yards out, but the rest of the boys got us to that position. So
I wouldn't go so far. It was just the tries. You're winning a lot of line-outs and you're leading the charge. Have you got some other lieutenants in the side who help you with the leadership responsibilities?
Ted and James, Ted Landry and James McRae share the vice captaincy, and we've also got Sammy at 10, Sam Morley. He's doing an outstanding job as a leader. But there's leaders throughout the 22. To be honest, it's quite an easy team to lead from that point of view because I don't have to say too much.
Yeah, Sam Morley, he's playing leadership, right? He's only a first year, right? And
second year.
Second year, my mistake. But still, like young 10, plying his trade, but he's got a big voice for a little guy, is he?
Yeah, he's not afraid to speak up. He knows what to say at the right times, and but not just him. As I say, loads of leaders out there, but Sam's definitely one of them. Yeah.
And then a comment on tonight's evening. It's a marquee event for you and the boys. You've got 5,000 people here.
Yeah.
I mean, what a thing to say about EURFC as a club.
Yeah, it's something we're really proud of. I think Keith's been running this event for 7 years now, 6-7 years. Excuse me. And it's a great event. You probably heard the boys in good voice. The other 8 teams we've got came out today, and as well as loads of other members of the uni. So it is a great occasion. As Keith said, we'll enjoy tonight, but we'll go back to the hard work on Friday.
Yeah, so it'll be a hero's welcome when you're walking into Timepiece later tonight. Is that the case?
I don't know if we get there in time. Yeah, it's a good night, so yeah, we'll enjoy it.
Okay, well, I'm very jealous. Congratulations on the win. You've put the pressure back onto Northumbria, who you guys are chasing hard. Yeah. And once again, you are our Yoti man of the match.
Cheers,
Si.
mate. Thank you very much.
Well played. It's a great game.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
So Si Linsell there, a deserving winner of tonight's man of the match. He was very, very humble when we were off camera, saying that he felt he played average and that other players deserved it. But there's no doubt about it. It was a team effort from Exeter this evening as they ground out a stubborn Bath to pick up that crucial bonus point win to keep the pressure on Northumbria. So, just to show you how that reflects on the league table, Exeter leapfrog Northumbria to 55 points. But Northumbria, of course, game in hand. They're playing basement dwellers, Nottingham Trent, on Friday night at Kingston Park. Now, you may look at Nottingham Trent and think bottom of the table, no wins, but this team has got some good players and they've been building some performances and momentum coming into this game. We've seen already and we've heard from everybody, you can beat any team in this league. Northumbria, they need to keep the pressure on. A bonus point win will put them back in number 1. In fact, a win without the bonus point on the head-to-head will put them ahead of Exeter, and we've got 2 games to play. There's massive fixtures coming up, and they're going to be coming to you on Free Sports TV. Next week, we're going all the way from the southwest up to the northeast, where Durham will be hosting Northumbria in the northeast derby. Durham coming out narrow losers 19-12 this evening against Loughborough. Will be looking to set the record straight and win bragging rights, because they've had narrow losses throughout the season, but they're definitely a team that can threaten. The last game of the season will be Leeds Beckett versus Northumbria. Now, Leeds Beckett, they have a massive pack. They've got a will to win, and they've got to be in a bonnet after last season's disappointment. So Northumbria by no means have the championships in their grasp. They've got one hand on the trophy, but Exeter are charging fast. Their remaining games are Cardiff Met away, which is an incredibly difficult place to go. And then they finish their season with Loughborough at home. Everything is to play for in this league. It is a thrilling season, and the championship won't be decided, in my opinion, until the final game of the season. It's been another classic BUCS night in front of a bumper crowd of 5,000 people. In previous years gone by, it's been a St Valentine's Day massacre for Bath University, but they really showed their teeth tonight, and Exeter managed to trump them in the end, scoring that bonus point, sealing the deal, and they charge on in pursuit of that BUCS booty. That's it from us tonight in Exeter. A very freezing cold Exeter as the weather's just setting in. But we thank you for joining us. Join us next week. As I said, Durham, Northumbria, up in the northeast, big derby. We'll be back next Wednesday. Join us live. Until then, good night.